Welcome everybody to another episode of Up Your Experience podcast. I think this is episode like 106 or 107. We're cruising right on through, and as usual, it's Blaze back with sort of most of his voice. I've realized there's certain like levels I can't reach still, which is weird, from yelling at a track meet yesterday. But overall, it's recovered. We have Bats. Bats, how's it going, dude?
Pretty good, pretty good. Normal week.
Normal
Working all
week.
the time. Yeah.
Okay,
Normal week as in I've had nothing exciting going on, just work constantly. So
I got you. And our special guest today, we have MajinBuusha from Albion Giants League, the owner.
let's go.
How
What's
goes
going
it?
on, fellas? I'm all right. You guys?
We're
Well,
ready to hear about this Albion Giants League.
I've realized this before when I wore this shirt, but if I bring my beard down to it, it looks like I don't have.
I knew
part
this
of my
was
face is
happening as soon
missing
as
again.
Yeah,
If I go like this, it's
gone.
all one thing, dude.
Yeah, you're
that's-
just wearing a shirt on your face. Like you don't have a beard. What are you talking about? Oh, it's
Yeah,
there. It's back. Where did it go?
It's
No
like
neck.
it's like this weird optical illusion that like all of a sudden like my neck is gone. Anyways,
Swole. It's called being swole.
yeah, dude, it's all the workouts I've been doing.
Dang.
Which to be fair, I have been on the grind, but not that much of a grind.
I know pretty soon he's gonna be
I need to
losing
get
his
with the program.
hair.
I guess I'll say this now. I posted in the Discord today, and I think this is a good idea if people are interested. I came up with this idea of like for instance, I've been doing 100 variations of push-ups every day and 100 variation of core every day for the past 3 weeks in a day. Just on my own, along with my regular like workouts. But I thought about like making a channel in Discord where like we could do like I could post either like a weekly like daily workout or like a daily workout that doesn't take like a ton of time that you could do at home in like 10 minutes. That's just something rather than nothing at all. And like there'd be other people to participate in the Discord. So that would be just kind of like a group thing where like maybe that'd be more interesting for people. Maybe
That sounds
also
pretty
just like
cool.
a little bit motivating because like I know for me like working out with other people is what motivates me.
You
Much
should
like
definitely
playing
do that,
Smite.
Don't get me started on that game.
Oh yes, got him. Just absolutely
Uh,
ruined bats
Dude,
right
my
then and
Smite
there,
games
dude.
have not been great at all because I come in like one day out of the week, play Smite, and I'm like, oh my god, I suck.
It's okay. We're not going to talk games of the week this week because we're focusing pretty much strictly on Albion Giants. I will say this one thing: I started singing a song about getting a Pinta this week, and I got a Pinta.
And then he sent me the clip like 3 times.
I sent it to you once. Calm down.
Twice it didn't work. Remember? Then you had to sign it again.
Okay, so
ask
twice.
for it.
Whatever. That's besides the point. Anyways, Busha, season
Yo.
10's wrapping up of Albion Giants League.
Man, it's happening fast. I swear February was yesterday, man.
I do feel
Like-
like the season's gone quick, dude.
It really did
It-
feel like it was quick with minimum complications on a players standpoint.
Our biggest problem was scheduling, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's minimum. I always
Yeah.
assume scheduling with random people, random different days, everybody at different times. It's not going to be as easy as you think. That's why I'm so glad there's a default day.
Yeah, 100%. I used to hate that default rule for the longest time, but then now I'm just like, it helps. It helps Might get played. So
I hate it for one reason, and we've discussed it many times, and that is
100%.
people that force default day every week. Like they will not give you any
Yeah,
other
that
time,
is.
and they force default day. Like I think that's hot garbage.
Those are the ones that are the most annoying for sure. Those have like lessened for the most part, but it still
Yeah.
happens for sure.
Blaze
think-
likes to abuse default day. 'Cause they'll be like,
No,
oh, we can't do
absolutely
default
not.
day. And he'll be like, well, here are our days. If you don't like it, we're doing default day. And they're like, oh, okay. Well,
I did that once this season. I actually, for the first time in my comp career, I did that once this season.
Hey, it
And that's
worked.
because we had multiple teams that DM'd us the day of, 2 hours before they wanted to play the set.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Oh.
They message you on Monday, and
Yeah.
then they'd be like, "Hey, you want to play at 8 o'clock?" And it's like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, bro,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude.
Well,
Let me
what-
load.
you
Let me
think-
load on up.
yeah. Let me DM the other 4 people and just happen to get all of them to respond to me within an hour and see. If
Yeah,
it's
that was hard
possible.
enough.
Like what? Like what? Are you,
You know what? You know
that's
what's crazy
man.
is that like there's a challenge where you can see who you're playing every week. So if this is a
Yeah.
problem for you, where you can only play like Monday, for instance, you could DM that team like a week out and be like, yo, next week, bro, I can only play on Monday. Is there anything y'all can do? Rather than wait until the day of.
That would be great. That would be awesome if people started
I think
doing
that's actually, that is like a point that's been brought up in a multitude of chats, is like, scheduling wise, it's not like we don't know.
Yeah.
like there's a challenge for every conference. You are
there was
aware.
In the Narwhalaby conference chat, there was definitely some conversation being had there, and it just came back to the suggestion being exactly what we do now, except for you need to be aware. And that conversation happened over 2 or 3 days before I even actually looked at it, and I was just like, sounds like the thing we already do, just either A, you forgot about it, B, somebody tell you enough about it, or C, you're just lazy. Like, it's one of the 3 options. I can't tell you which one it is for you.
Yeah, I was part of that conversation, like trying to alleviate it in the sense of like, I think that team, we played them. They could only play Sunday nights. That's the only time they could play. They had people that traveled out of town all week. That was just what worked for their schedule. And again, if you know ahead of time, cool. Like, I think me and them talked like a week out, and we're like, hey, they can only play Sunday. And I was like, all right, guys, like, can we do this? Like, even if we have to get subs, like, it's the only time that works for them.
Oh yeah, was that the team that I thought you said next Sunday, but it was this Sunday, and I was like, oh, I'm running home from working like an 8-hour shift, just drive, get there like 30 minutes before, and I was like, I'm here. Oh,
that was
and
the
then it
playoff
ended up
game.
being a 3-hour game.
Yeah, dude, that was the set that we blew them out game 1. Like, absolutely dominated them. Like, we hadn't played a game that well all season. I think we won in like 23 minutes.
43-14 is the
Yeah,
greatest hit of our whole career.
And then
wow.
And then game 2 went 55 freaking minutes and we threw. And I was like, there is no way that we just threw that game. And like, their game plan was after game 1, and this is my own fault. Like, I went like 7-1-8. After game 1, they're like, all right, this Blaze guy, if we dive him and kill him on cooldown, we don't have to worry about him. And that's pretty much what happened.
Yep.
Every fight.
I have unfortunately
yeah,
been on the receiving end of that for years.
Yeah.
Like, people see my name. Like 2 weeks ago, there was this plat level team that I was just playing casuals with, like 12 gauge and Narwhal and Ted and a couple, and I can't remember who the other person was, but we were just playing casuals, just chilling, and then next thing you know, I've got a Hercules and a Naja and a Thoth sitting on me in mid lane the entire time, and I'm just going negative KD after negative KD after negative KD. Like, it just gets worse and worse, and I'm just like, yeah, this is anymore. This is not fun
like
anymore.
Lane.
Yeah, you know the last time I played Conquest, Majin? A week ago.
Gosh.
A week ago.
It's been a solid 2 to 3 weeks for me, so I get it.
Yeah, it's bad, dude.
Towards the end of like the fall season for AGL, fall, winter, whatever you want to like consider it to be. I don't play until Worlds is over. And then even then, I usually don't play until like a week before patch just to get some rust off, because I just, at that point in time.
You cut out there for a second. In that point in time, what?
Just at that point in time, I just get fried. So
yeah. Well, I think everybody, it's like this, like, they don't patch for like a month. So anything that sucks in the game just sucks for a month.
Yep.
And everybody gets burnt out around that time. Like, this is the way it is. I mean, maybe we'll see a difference with this new like seasons idea. I have many thoughts on the seasons idea of it being a lot of changes at one time.
It's actually more about 2 months, to be honest with you, because they have to have the qualifying, then they have to have like the placement, or I can't remember the exact. So the qualifying, it's like Worlds, and then qualifiers, like 2 weeks later, and then Worlds. But like the patch from a month ago or 2 weeks ago is the patch that gets played on, so they don't change anything in the actual like main server for 2 straight months, outside of maybe a teeny change here or there. But like it's so stale, it's the same meta over and over. You like it's just, I'm like, if you're like getting to where you just need to chill, like it's getting to be too much. It's like the perfect time of year to just like not play, because you're always going through the same thing over and over.
Oh, I know. I told Blaze, I was like, dude, I'm getting so much done because I'm not playing Smite. This is crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's wild. You know what else is wild before we talk about season 10 playoffs? Nox in SPL today, up until the Ravens playing her in game 2, had 100% win rate. And that was 7+ games. Nox.
Yep.
The god that no one wanted to touch until like mid-season 9. Crazy, dude. I like mind-boggling. I couldn't believe it. Also, I have to say shout-outs to Alpwash, Aurora support yesterday, level 11 at 21 minutes. Real rough hours out there for the boy.
Was it at least into hell?
I don't remember. I just know that they dove that man on cooldown, and he was level 11 when the game ended at 2150.
The idea was like, this is so tech. It's like into hell /
Oh, it was definitely into
support.
It was definitely into a healing comp. I can probably find it real quick.
It'd have to be into something that has a healing support in this meta, and then has to have at least one more like problem, like Hercules or Guan or something like that. I would think.
I'm looking at it right. Hold on. There's no way this is the right game, right? No. Okay, yeah. Aurora Apwash. They were against. Oh my god. Why is this laid out this way, bro? Yeah, they're against Hell, Kurnanos, Finrir, Hebo, Guan Yu. I mean, it was like the tech was there, but like the gameplay wasn't.
But Finrir, so you just die over and over.
Yeah, they just Ragnarok that man. They literally rocked him to the gray screen.
That's unfortunate.
But Majin, we've casted this week. We casted some Albion Giants playoffs, and I've been casting a good bit of Albion Giants playoffs. Surprisingly, I think I've done like 3 or 4 games now just of playoff matches.
That's like, I guess we kind of go through what we've done.
I think we kind of got some games and like kind of just some seeding to talk about heading into this next week, because next weekend's finals.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with the Narwhalaby Conference. It's intended to be the Golden Below Conference. So this is the second season in a row where the number 9 seed has made finals. Also, the 2 seasons in a row where the number 9 seed has beat the number 1 seed in order to make it past the quarterfinals to get the semis to get to finals. Last season, the 9 seed did win it. This season, that 9 seed was a 8 seed and lost to the 9 seed in the first round. So will history repeat itself is like really like, it's a really, really cool idea just to maybe see that happen again. Also, the number 1 seed was completely undefeated during the season, didn't drop a game. They had 21 points, the maximum amount you can get on the A side. So, and that also happened last season too. So I don't know what's happening, but some weird stuff's happening in this conference, and I kind of like it. The other side, that match is being played Sunday at 12:30. It's number 2 Chocolate Factory. They actually are going to have to have a sub and solo because they need some. I don't know what their solo ended up doing, but they got suspended. So fun times for that team.
Yo, let's go.
I was going to say Game Awards, but I actually remembered I don't know why the reasoning is. So it would have been fair to say Game Awards.
Okay, but here's a question for you. Yes. While we're talking on this point, what are your thoughts?
I think
on someone being banned in game, right?
Yeah.
And then still being able to play SCC.
I think that is so ridiculous. I like, look, I had 2 people DM me like, yo, so if they're banned from competitive from high res and they can still play, so then why can't we bring back this banned player from AGL? It's like, first of all, fuck you. That's why. That stupid, ridiculous question. Like, that's a stupid, ridiculous question. Dude, don't ask me that ever.
I need that clipped. I need that clipped, and we need to make a GIF out of it right there.
You know what's better about that is on my end, like you guys can't hear it, but it'll definitely be on the video. You can hear my kids like stomping up the stairs. at that moment.
Oh man, that's gonna be a great edit. I can't wait for that portion. I can't wait for that clip. But no, for real though, that's such an annoying. Like, why do people think transitive property works? It's like when people try to do that, like with college football, like this York team beat this team that beat this team that beat this team that beat this team that beat Alabama. Therefore, this team can beat Alabama. Like, I can't stand that, the transitive property theories. I hate that so much because it never works out that way. But the other team that could possibly move on to that finals is number 6, the Go-Gurt Boys. They were the 3rd seed out of I believe your
division, right? They're the ones we lost to in playoffs. They're the ones that we bodied game 1, and then that's
what I thought. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you guys played them in playoffs, and then it just it was there.
It was a 3-hour long
extravaganza, some would say.
Yeah.
So
they don't like Martika Ross. I can tell you that.
And they don't like Bakasor either.
Yeah, I bet so. Like, if somebody does some homework and sees that they struggled against those 2 picks, they might I mean, they might be betting Marty anyway, but at this point, but nobody bans Baka.
My psychicness kicked in, and I said, bats, they're ganking me. No ward vision or anything. I was like, they are coming to this tower right now. And no joke, within 5 seconds, ADC, support, jungle, all on me. And I was like, bats, they're here. And he's like, don't worry, I'm on the way, man. And I ages, Bat shows up, and they all die. And I was like, send it.
And then I never got to play Bakasor again that whole combat.
And then that's when we learned that wards are a crutch. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's the boots theory, dude. Man, don't buy wards and I win. That's the plan,
exactly. Just have strong mentals and just know what they're going to do at all times. Easy.
Yeah, just live in their head, and then I know.
Oh gosh. Man. All right, so up for the next one. This is a fun one, and there's a little bit of a story behind this. But the TED Lessons Conference, which is intended to be our Plat Conference, number 2 Heart Showers, I think lost a single game.
I've casted them. Season. They're good.
Yeah, so they've been in this conference 3 seasons in a row now. The first 2 seasons, they got like the 1 or 2 seed and like had like at least 19 or 20 points, and then lost first round. And then there was 2 roster changes to this team going into this season, and now they've actually made it to finals. And it's one of those teams where like you recognize that they're probably a touch strong for the conference, but like they're not so strong that they like. There's always going to be that team or 2 that's like the best ones that you have to chase anyway, right? So with there only being 16 signups, it was like, I think we can take a chance here based on the previous 2 seasons, see if those 2 roster changes are just too much at some point in the season, which, I mean, they were winning. They were some close games, though, during the season, but they've actually made it to the finals this time. So they'll be moving up for sure this time around, but to finally break the curse they were going through and not losing the first round is massive. But on the other side, you guys ready for this part?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how many teams make playoffs bets?
Okay, I know
I don't know if Bats knows this because I did not share. I did not share this information with the team.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he paid attention through the last 2 years or anything, but
Okay, listen. Last year and this year, our teams have been rough.
Yeah, trust me, I understand.
Yeah.
So when we get done and we're just out, we're like literally the whole team's gone. Nobody's talking to each other. We're all mad.
Do you remember your seeding from this season for playoffs?
I didn't even know.
Also, something I did not share.
So honestly, this is how this season went.
Because here's the deal: we knew. We were the last ones. Like we knew that going into it. Like we're in last, bro. You know how many I can count on Majin, I can count on my hands how many comp games I've won in the past year.
I gotcha.
And what's crazy is one of them I carried so hard. I don't think I've ever carried that hard in my life. I carried so hard, and the coach just like absolutely BM me afterwards. And I sat there in comms, and he's like, "You got anything you want to say?" And I was like, "No." And I muted myself until the game started. I didn't even talk during picks and bans. Like, I typed my pick out. And I remember our ADC goes, "Dude, guys," I was like, "Is Blaze gonna talk like during the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just waiting for the coach to leave." Like, because I was, and then that game, I popped off hard. Like, I took out any aggression that I had and just on the enemy team. And that team, what sucked is that team was so good, but the coaching was so bad. And I think what's hard is when you coach for a living, if someone's a bad coach, it just makes it impossible for you to listen to them.
And he made a Google Doc for you guys.
He did. He made like a dude. He made like it had to be like a 10-page Google Doc, bro, about how to play the game.
Wow.
Did I not
send it out to everybody?
Did I not send that to you?
I would love to see that.
Hold on. Yeah, I'll let you. We'll get back to.
I've seen some stuff. Like, I've seen a bunch of stuff before, but a 10-page document on how to play the game.
It was crazy.
There better be like bullet points to make that like 10 pages, man, or I'm just gonna like laugh.
I read the page and was like, I can't
there's
do this.
No shot. There's no shot.
I'll read it after the podcast just so we save time. But like, I can't wait for that.
Just know that the first point I will share this with everybody is team versus individual and the issue with calls.
It's the first point.
That's the first point.
Okay.
And it gets worse from there. I read like a page and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I feel my brain cells leaving. They're just exiting. They're like, nope, they don't even want to die. They're just gone.
I'll also say this before we talk about how many teams are in playoffs. A question that was asked, maybe by our ADC, maybe not. I couldn't say. Is what does Onk do?
What does Onk do?
My
God.
Well,
what does that Onk do?
This is why we shouldn't have beads and Aegis in the game.
Is it different from Divine?
Some, that's a great question.
Because I know somebody who doesn't build Divine against healers, and
dude. But imagine if Divine had a passive that was kind of like Odibo, but it did more damage, and it was purple. That'd be crazy.
And it shined a little bit.
Anyway,
I'm
done derailing.
Okay,
I'm done.
But to answer your question, I have no idea because every time I've played, I've went like, okay, I've gone in to like want to get better and maybe win, but I have no expectation of winning.
I got you. So 6 teams from each division make the playoffs, so that's 12 teams. You guys were the 12th seed. There's a 12th seed in the finals for TED Conference. Here's the catch. This is a team that has been around for 2 years in this conference, and they consistently, like middle of pack, top end, did some research. They had to forfeit 2 matches against, I think it was like the 3 seed and 4 seed, because a player that was on their roster would purpose not show up at game time and be in another league's match at that exact same time.
No shot.
So this team,
100% cutting them.
So they removed him from roster, brought out somebody else like in like week 5 or something, and then they just barely made playoffs by like a point. And now because they made that change, got that person off their roster that was causing that to happen, they probably would have been like an 8 or 7 seed, and I still would have been shocked to see them in finals, maybe even like a 5 or 6. Like the team is like they've been here for a long time. They've got players that play in multiple leagues, like here previously in Valhalla, but also like now OSL Camelot for the draft league side. But like that one person like almost ruined their season, like because now they get to have, but now they get to have the story that they were the 12 seed and they barely made playoffs and they made it to finals. Now imagine if they somehow do take down the number 2 seed, who they have scrimmed a bunch in the past, so they have information on them. If they take them down in finals, like you can never make an argument to move the playoffs up from like 6 to like up to 4 or 6 to 5. You can never make that argument again. So they have a chance to like stick this permanently to everybody. So this could be like massive history that could happen in this
It is
conference.
crazy. And I will admit, I honestly I feel like both seasons so far that Blaze and I have been on teams, we've made it to playoffs, and I have no idea how it's even happened. He's just like, "Yo, guys, we made it," and it's like, "What? I thought we were done. Oh, we made it." And it's
See,
always
like,
like, "Hey, 2 teams dropped out. We're in now." What? Why'd they
no,
do
to be
that?
fair, we dropped multiple sets that we should have won this season. And
Yes.
and I think we played 3 of our games with subs.
Yes.
We had to forfeit 2 due to the team. One because like we legitimately just couldn't do it that week, and the other one we tried to schedule, and the enemy team was just not going to schedule with us. And I got so fed up with dealing it, I FF'd.
Yeah. So if you can manage to find like that's like 5 matches there you mentioned, right? If you find like 1 point in 3 matches, you're like a freaking like a 9 seed or a 10 or an 8 seed. So like makes a difference. But so now that we've talked about like I know we've still got a lot more to go here for the playoff side, but I kind of want to talk about like how we got to our current playoff system, because I don't know if people actually know. So our very first season, we had 30 signups. We did first come first serve, so we put we could only do 8 teams per division, and we had 2 NA divisions, golden or platinum below, no, golden below, and then platinum diamond. We didn't do masters.
Which is that's like what we did in. I think it's the same. We had it set up in Baji, so I think we had to.
I think so. I think y'all did something very similar. So first season, because we're growing, learning. Like we have some experience from previous leagues, like playing in Bot G or playing in Exilium, or me doing broadcast management Exilium, Glacier, and other people that have been in Obey before for like the 2 seasons they had. And then just people that had passion for the game, right? So first of all, like that season was, I think about the work I do, like the amount of things I do behind the scenes now, or like maybe like in front of the scenes. That season was probably the busiest I've ever been, because you spend so much time trying to figure out what went well, what didn't go well, getting feedback from every captain, every player that will like tell you. And so the first season we just had it to where the 8 teams, they fight for seeding during the season, and then they all go to playoffs, and then they just single elimination from there, right?
Yeah.
Well, we figured out, because we're new and because we like haven't really put that much time into it quite yet. There was one team in each division that was sandbagging games during the early part of the season, and then like towards the end they could see who they could play in their matchups, and then they would like win or lose games based off of that. So the very next season, in our second season, which we went from those 3 divisions I mentioned to then having 5 NA divisions. We had retained the EU division. We grew 3 LATAM divisions and 1 EU division, or 1 OCE division. So that one season to our second season, like, just exploded. But we changed it to where only the top 4 made playoffs. Third season, and then between season 3 and season 4, do you guys know Batman?
Yeah.
The player?
Yes.
Okay, so he and his team was like, we really think that we should move it to like 6. And I was like, okay, so why do you think that? And they were talking about that half the time, like 5 versus 4 seed is like 50-50. And I was like, I could buy that. Okay, I get that part. But I was like, why 6 seed? And they were like, there's sometimes scrims where a 6 seed just beats a 3 seed or beats a higher seeded team, and it's just like a good day for them. And I'm just like, okay, I can kind of buy that. Let me talk to teams, see what we want to do. So we did that, and I did that. But first, I did the research from the first season. So the first season, the 5 seed beat the 4 seed in each playoff. So I was like, okay, interesting. And then one of the 3 seeds lost to the 6 seed, but keep in mind that was one of the teams that like had like sandbagged, right? So then I looked during the season for season 3, and looked for 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5. And for those 10 divisions that I named, the 4 seed versus 5 seed was exactly 50-50 split. And then 6 seed versus 3 seed, 3 of the 6 seeds beat the 3 seed in order to move to the semifinals, because we did 16 playoffs.
Yeah,
that ended up with 12 now. So
that's actually crazy.
I think that's something me and you talked about a lot, because of when I was doing when we were doing Bot G League, we had that same issue with teams sandbagging, specifically in gold below. Which, honestly, our gold below division was really, really good. Besides, there was 2 teams that sandbagged hard, and then we're jerks about it. But other than that, I think that's something you and I talked about a lot, especially with playoffs specifically, where it's not always bad to have a bigger playoff picture, because there are these lower seed teams that show up, or maybe it takes them the whole entire season to figure out how they're going to play the game as a team. Because the one thing that you see a lot it's not just amateur Smite. I mean, it's easy to talk about amateur Smite specifically because that's what we're playing, is the amount of turnover in rosters is insane. I mean, it's just teams will not commit to staying together and playing a season out if they're losing consistently. Where you're going to have sometimes where, I mean, I've played at this point, I think I played Diamond Plus that one year. We didn't play Masters. And that was one of the few teams I've been on that we all we pretty much stuck together for the most time. Before the past 2 seasons where I've been more in of a captain role.
Mm-hmm.
Where I really don't like to make a lot of change unless someone's being egregiously toxic or is this legitimately bad for the team. You have subs for a reason, use them. And that's one thing that teams will not do. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to play with subs." I'm like, "Well, man, sometimes that's the way of the road. It sucks." You think last night at my track meet I wanted to put 2 people in that don't normally run the events they run? No. But it gets the rest of my people experience. It's part of life. It happens.
Yeah, it does be that way. So to go with what you're saying about teams don't stick together very long, especially if they don't win. If they're losing, they're struggling, they're not making runs or showing improvement, or at least they don't think they are. So for season 10, we got 152 teams to sign up. That's the most we've ever gotten for the 4th season in a row.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Because if you do the math, every team having 2 subs, it's over 1,060 players. And they all some or all have coaches, and if we had a role for that, then we would know there would be more to that number, but the number doesn't matter to me. It's just really cool to think about. But saying that, for the teams that were returning with 3 or more members from the previous season, only 10% teams this season came back as mostly constructed or fully returning. So 137 teams were teams that had maybe 2 players that had played together before or the previous season, but the other 3 were not on that roster. This is what happens every single season.
Yeah, every season. And I don't think people realize sometimes it's just a learning experience. Sometimes you have the right people in the wrong roles. I've been a part of that many times. Where a Hyde Train, one of my favorite people to play with ever. Just a good dude, he could play any role at a probably platinum blood level if he wanted to. And me and him were on a team together, and I was like, dude, this is not working. I think you need to go solo. I need to go jungle. And the first game we played comp after that swap was absolutely devastating for the enemy team. We smacked them so hard, so fast, it wasn't even funny. I think between me and him, I think we had 17 of our kills, and the game lasted less than 30 minutes. We literally just ran it down. But sometimes you have those players, sometimes you don't. Old school shout out to Silent Aces, who I played with on Bot G Girthworms when I played solo. He was support, and me and him just had the chemistry. We didn't have to comment. Like he knew when I was gonna swap to back line and he was gonna go front line and vice versa. It was just like we knew how each other were gonna play. But you don't always have that. And sometimes it does take a role swap, which some people are afraid to do. Like you have ADCs are like, all I do is left click. I don't want to play support. Well, maybe you're better at support, dog. Asmore said that to me last night. He goes, dude, like you're pretty good at playing Guardians. I said, oh yeah, support's a fun role. Support is the most troll role in the game. That's literally what you do.
It's troll, but crucial if you think about it.
But like if you're playing support to troll the enemy team, you probably winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
If you're playing support
a lot that way
to peel and support your team, you might actually be losing. Because it's such a crucial role aggression wise that you have to be aggressive in nature and support, which is very strange for a MOBA.
There is no peel in this game anymore. It's not It's not the way to win games. It's been this way since Season 4 Worlds, since PBM and United, like they just ran it down all the time and talked about it. Really, if you looked before that, like when Epsilon/NRG was winning those 2 worlds, they were doing the same thing, but they were doing it in spots. They were farming to the right moments and then mowing you down, and then farming to the right moments again and then mowing. It was more calculated, more meticulous than what you see now. Like when you think of a support, you think Jeff Hindler, right? There's not a singular support in the last 5 years that you're like, that guy reminds me of Jeff Hindler that plays in the NFL or in the SPL. It doesn't exist.
You can't.
So support is like what solo lane used to be in Season 4, Season 3.
Actually, I will say this. I think Gamma was probably as close as you get last season.
As close, yes, and he was on the worst team, unfortunately.
And then didn't make it in the league this year because they got ousted at playoffs.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Speaking of playoffs, the Sherricks Conference, we actually casted the semifinals between the number
shout
one
outs
team
to my boys
and the number 4 team here. Number 4 team, Asgard Okami, pulling off the upset.
Some would say that team would be so much better if their jungler could play anything but Ravana.
That's true. If they also wouldn't steal Pentas that were clearly about to be, finalized by
Did you see today?
Landing Yu Wong.
That Zapman had his Penta taken away by Shinto at the end of the game.
No way.
Yeah.
That'll be the last time he gets that opportunity. Sucks.
Yep. Unfortunate, really. No, but I trolling aside,
that won't happen again. But yeah, for sure. Like Asgard Okami, and I do know that this team is not returning next season because like Matt's got stuff that he's got going on. Vectors needs a break, so the others 12 really only he plays because he loves playing with Matt and playing with Sneck, and the other 2 kind of do their own thing, go off in La La Land. So he likes playing with people that have this idea of how we're going to win this game, and he enjoys playing with them. So I doubt he would play with the other 2 without those 2 being there. So I do believe they're not coming back next season, but they have to play the number 3 seeded Anti-Ward, a team that, obviously a 3 seed. They were second in their own side. They've got some players that I gotta bring the roster back up because I had all this memorized, and then my brain just said, you know what? Let's just die, brain. Let's just.
That's something that happened during
cast.
Yeah, that happened during the cast of the night, dude. We had 3 great games.
And you had a point, and
Oh, dude, it was such a good point too. It was 30 minutes into the cast. I'm in the middle of making my point, and keep in mind, I had worked a 13-hour day, and game 3. I'm in the middle. I have this great point that I'm making, and then my brain just goes, "Nope, you're done." And I was it detoured, and then I couldn't remember my thought. I was so mad, dude. But honestly,
that's so unfortunate.
Matt and Vectors, dude, playing off of each other in that game were absolutely wild. That team is really, really good.
Do you realize that they have been on the same team since Season 2 of AGL?
That's crazy. That's
I
It's
wish I could say the same.
there's only one other team that's been playing longer, and that is Perger and Berger, and
yeah,
Carius Mac.
yeah.
That's the only team that's been playing every single season of AGL. So shout outs to those guys, and then also obviously shout out to Matt and the boys. But like, it's crazy to think about. I mean, they've been together for 3 years. They've won the Giants conference in which in season 8, which would be Ted Lisson's now. And then they had to drop out of Sherrick's early last season. I think they were 1-2, didn't look very well, had some scheduling issues. And then here they are in Sherrick's conference and getting the 4 seed now in playoffs. Maybe they go off into sunset. You never know. But they got Anti-Ward. They've got Shepard, Sir Spoon, and Ambrose. I've seen those guys around.
Yeah, Ambrose is good.
Name changes and stuff, but those guys are clean. So that's good. That's gonna be a fun matchup to watch when that comes around. But let's go on to the next one. Glacier Conference. We got all chalk on this one, guys. This is the first time this has happened in 3 AGL seasons. So since season 7, we haven't had a 1-2 finals in regular like AGL play since then. It's nuts to think about. So number 1 pool party versus number 2 going ghost.
I don't know much about pool party. Maybe I know their players if you said them, but like going ghosts, I know. That team is very good.
So I don't know their current name, but they're all named, I'm sorry, but Pool Party is Fairy Tale Love, Wingman Ghost, Pikes, like Piyks.
Yeah.
Alejandro MT44 and I can't say this other name on podcast.
Okay, I don't know them.
I know 2 of them well, and they're like mid masters players. Going Ghosts is names I know. I've known
Going
because
Ghosts.
They play here. They play everywhere else.
They play everywhere.
Depp Muffin, Kairos, Jay Oliver, or Jolly Poppy, whoever you know them. Octay and Upgrade Only. This is going to be a crazy match because both teams, like they both had 20 or more points during the season, and if you ever watch them, they are so clean.
This is also probably a time to mention. We didn't mention this earlier. This is best of 5 in finals.
Yes, sorry. So the finals is best of 5, regular season, and all the way up to semifinals is best of 3. The third place match is also best of 3. Teams can agree to do less than best of 5 if they agree to it, but most of the time they just play the best of 5 because it's the one time you would get to do it.
Yeah.
And you would get to experience what it's like that the pros get to go through and like the major lands and stuff like that, the best of 5s. So most teams choose to still stick with best of 5. I don't think there's been a best of 3 finals.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, there's it's been a long time for that, but it's awesome to think about. But also, let's go ahead and go to the Masters Conference before we hit up Collegiate here. I'm gonna pull these rosters up because I know
I can vamp. I got you.
I know the number 2 team. I know the entire roster because they're collegiate players, but the other team, my mind is blown. Something about working like 7:30 to 5, man, just kind of kills me.
Yeah, dude. I feel that. I feel that every day.
4 a.m. to
there we go.
Yeah, Bats' schedule is like real dumb.
Yeah,
Bats literally has one of the worst schedules I've ever heard of in my life.
Dude, they just keep offering me more overtime, and I just keep taking it. I regret it, but
you know what sucks about being a teacher? You get overtime, you don't get paid for it. Like they just give you overtime.
Oh no, if I'm not getting paid, they won't see me.
No, you get paid. You just don't get paid extra. Like they're just like, you're gonna do this because you signed a contract, and you're like, oh, okay.
That's just the way of the extra. But
yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I get paid extra for coach. I'm not talking about that. But like they'll be like, you're gonna go to blah 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 meeting on this day, and it's at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. You're like, but why? Like, do I have to? And they're like, yes. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll be there. But no, I did want to say I had
a contract.
Yeah, according to part 2 2.A
35 12
2.8 chapter 3 section I.2.
My contract's 3 pages. It ain't that elaborate, but I did want to mention. I know, like, Asgard or Kami, I've been casting a lot of their games. Just to go back for a second, they did ask me if I'd live cast their finals. Depending on the day it's played, I may. But like, oh my god, if it goes 5 games, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it.
Yeah, you're gonna want to get some like, I mean, you probably seen it twice, but I have a gallon of cold water beside me at all times. Yeah. So like, I stay hydrated. Brother, like, oh
yeah, I just don't know.
Be rough for you.
I'm a little I'm excited but scared about the opportunity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's okay.
Yeah,
though.
for sure.
So Masters division, right?
Yeah, so it's chalk here as well. By the way, this
1 and 2 again.
Masters both went 1 and 2. The team name is like the best team name I've ever heard in my life. Bluestone Jotun's X-Ball Fan Club.
I mean, honestly, if you haven't played Bluestone on X-Ball, you're missing out. That's what I have to say about it.
You're missing out. Yeah, for sure. So this team, the construction of this team is, if you know Zotes, or formerly known as Lombo or Lover 22, now going by Salmon Samuel, Swagga, who's for previously Emoji Daddy or Swagabacka.
Yep. That dude is cracked.
Yeah, absolutely. A Modicon father, previously known as Emoji Daddy, Kaizo Caster, and I don't know how to say this last name, but it looks Russian or something like that. It starts with a K.
Kaizo.
KVE.
I don't know about
so,
that.
Yeah, Kaizo, yeah. He plays Horn support like every game, and it just goes ham. But the other team, their team name is Switch Players Anonymous, but I like to call them the Big Ten. Because it's players from schools from the Big Ten.
I also do they actually play on Switch is what we really need to ask ourselves.
No.
Yeah.
And here's how.
No,
I was gonna be funny. And you know the reason I know they don't is because the last time I played on Switch. Because not only that, because last time I played on Switch to try to do a team practice, I crashed 22 times. So I know they're not playing on Switch. Anyways,
that was rough.
I was so mad, dude. I went to bed that night just upset. I was just angry
because he's like, I got my Switch. We're gonna play.
Dude,
I'm here.
It was the 5v5 Smite Night Conquest night.
The first time
the
it came
first
out
one. I was so excited.
With bands.
I was so mad.
With bands.
Yeah. Stupid.
And we never saw it again.
All right. Big Ten, huh?
Yeah. So so Solane Sumic, you guys probably know him from the SEC, SOC. Just one of the best solo laners there are in the game. He goes to Illinois, or Illini Orange, whatever you want to refer to them here as. Next up for the jungler in mid, Simadine and Chalkstar, who are both at Wisconsin. Doom and Macaroni for support and carry. They both go to Michigan. Ex-Kana, who has gone to, I think, both Michigan and Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. And then Eric Degg, who's also on the Michigan roster. So if the Masters, if these Masters level collegiate players win, so should we just replace the Masters League division with the all collegiate players of Masters level?
Maybe.
Do we give this team? Do we put this team up against whoever wins Division 1 for collegiate? I don't actually think that's possible.
That's not possible. It's not possible based on.
Let me tell you why it's not possible. Because collegiate Division 1. Because next is collegiate Division 1. We're about to talk about, and Illini Orange and Michigan
are against each other.
So that's why it's not possible. But since we said that, Illini was the number 2 seed. They also won the spring 2021 championship. Michigan won the fall 2020 championship. They're the number 5 seed here. Just mention some players that are on those rosters now. I can say that these teams like Michigan is the roster that's more intact from that time frame. But this Illini roster does have Yager on this roster in jungle. So having that level of a player be able to join your team is always going to be a win. And then it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a very close match. I literally think this could go to 5. Like this one it's got chances to go that far. Also, what's more important here is we partnered with the NECC this year, and to make a cash prize pool for each division. Every team that signed up needed to pay $10 per player or $50. And so the winner of Division 1 is going to get $500 to split up amongst themselves for 100 each. So these guys are playing for some cash. Of course, we're still going to give them gems as well. Like we have the prizing for it, so why not? The funding for it, so why not? So they'll get the gems from our side, but they'll get that cash from the NECC for winning the first place in the finals. For Division 2 is Full Sail Armada, and the second team hasn't been determined yet, but it's either number 2 A&M White or number 3 Clemson. I think it's going to be A&M White based on the rosters, but there's always a chance for anything to happen here.
Yeah, Full Sail one of those teams that's really good. I've casted them before.
Full Sail is this team. They'll be in D1 next season. They didn't really have that much of a threat outside of A&M White this season. I think their set went to 3 both times. But Full Sail won both of them. Saffron is an absolute menace.
Really good player.
Dude, this guy, I think if he I had him on my draft league team, my Masters draft league team as a captain. And he actually played with Drew's Food. He was on A&M White as their jungler. So this, for me, is a really cool matchup to watch to happen if it does happen again. But Saffron, I think if he gets around the right people and he just gets practice in, he could go places. I really believe that.
No, that's Saffron's really good.
Yeah, because he talked to me. He was like, "Where can I get in with Masters players?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm actually doing this with OSL, so we could draft a team around you, around some of the better Masters players. Like Tiny Threat is insane in mid. Like he's playing picks like Disco and Morgan Le Fay and going 70k damage every game. Like this guy is insane. Like if he can stay around people like that, I think this guy can go places because he's got a god pool outside of hunters that you have to ban.
Yeah,
like you have to. That's those two. That's that Division 2. 300 goes to first place. So divide that up against the players. First place gets that. Also, second place and third place also gets prizing, but it's not worth mentioning since we're just talking about finals here.
Yeah.
Division 3 is NC State Red, who is the number 1 seed, versus the number 2 seed ECA Marshall. That one's 200 for first place. Marshall's ADC. This is his last collegiate game. Graduating as a senior. Done with school after that. Shout outs to Hydra. Dude is a player. He every time, if you just search up, go to our Twitter, AGL_Smite, you're gonna see Marshall players just retweeting clips and stuff of him going off. And dude is so good. I would love to see him on a on a pre-made team that's diamond level or higher. And I just want to see that dude grow because he's got a good.
I've casted both of these teams too, and they're really, really good.
Yeah, NC State Red.
I think they're the ones I've watched that had multiple comebacks in the same set, and I was like, dude, these guys, you can't shatter their mental. You can't. Doesn't matter how far they're down. They're just gonna be like, cool. I'll keep playing the game against you.
Well, also NC State Red plays in the Ted Lessons Conference as well, so which is what Division 3 basically is. So they play in both conferences every season. They put in the work. They also scrim. They're committed. They've gotten so much better in 6 months. They're going to Division 2 next season. And they lost to a team in they lost to Has-Been Hunters in the Giants conference in the quarterfinals. But those two teams were even. Like those two teams last year met in semifinals. Has-Been Hunters also won in a best of 3, all 3 games at that point too. So, but also with a couple teams moving up, they're just going to be invited auto back to Giants. But if they want to go to Sherricks, I'm not going to tell them no, because I think they could compete the lower to mid end there. But I don't know that they would necessarily carry their way through Giants either. So I think they could fit either one. But I also want to mention, because this is a change I actually forgot to add to the list, so I'll have to do this in a second. This season, for season 10, the Ted Listens Conference, I took the 2 captains that were returning from the highest seeded teams, put them in a group call. They drafted each other's divisions this season. What Smite did, SPL did with like Kings
with the
and
1
whoever,
and 2 seed. The
1 and 2 seed. So I did the same thing. So I was like, okay, NC State Red was the higher seed, or Has-Been Hunters were the highest seeded team. No, NC State was. Sorry. And NC State, I was like, NC State, you get first pick to throw the other side. Who do you want to throw? First team they threw on the other side, Heart Showers immediately. And then, 2 teams from Has-Been, 2 teams from NC State, 2 teams, back and forth until the very end. So actually, and also, NC State's side, the number 1 seed, had 14 points. 14 out of 21. That division was so close.
That's crazy.
One minor change, and like I just gotta pull it up and read it off, man, because like I see stuff like that and it makes me want to do it for every other conference. That was actually the intent, because one conference every season I basically find something new to try. Or usually it's in collegiate and then we bring it over if it works well. But like this time I just did it with these people, these teams here. But this is a group stage for Division A. Team adversary 14 points. NC State Red 13. The Banished 12. A&M Aggies 12. Acer All Fathers 12.
That's wild, dude.
The top 5 teams in that division were within 2 points of each other. The records 5-2, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. That's how good that division was.
That division
after
was
that
close.
Draft. Now on the other side, Heart Showers 19, Snuts 19, Has-Been Hunters 15, but they're just as good as those two as Snuts is. Azure's Legion, which had some roster changes, probably could have had some more points, but they ended at 10th. Like those, at least those 7 teams, right, at minimum, 8 teams at minimum, made this division this conference really competitive. So I think we're gonna try to implement that going into every season going forward, when and where possible. But I think I've derailed quite a bit here, so
it's okay. We're on Division 4 now.
It's okay. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like half the podcast is usually a rant, so it's fine.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You know how it goes.
Also, Division 3, the winner gets $200. Division 4, number 3 Bradley Braves versus number 4 RIT Black. Okay, so Division 4 is basically like the Narwhalaby Conference. It's supposed to be something similar to that. And honestly, most of those teams probably, because next season, this is going to be a change we're going to talk about coming up, but next season, we have a new, we're changing Narwhalaby to a division. And a Luke is going to take over to being the conference. So a Luke conference is going to be gold and below, low gold and below, and then Narwhalaby is going to be low gold to high gold. It's going to be for those teams that are too good for gold and below, but not good enough to compete in plat.
Yeah.
So with that change, it allows us to do some other things we'll talk about when we get there. But these teams would fit in what it's going to be.
Yeah,
this is where these teams would be outside of the top 2, which would probably be a Narwhal division if we did that with collegiate that way. But Bradley was a 3 seed. RT the 4 seed. They both took down the number 1 and number 2 seed. And these playoffs were double elimination, by the way, for collegiate.
Oh, that's cool.
Double elim playoffs. So they beat the number 1 and number 2 teams twice.
Nice. Yeah, that's crazy.
So like super cool to see this. But I'm excited. But $100 goes to the first place team for that one. So first place alone across all 4 divisions is $1,100.
That's really good. Super cool. Honestly, I think that's awesome.
Partnering with NACC and doing this, it's just amazing to think about.
Yeah, NACC's been doing a lot. And I don't think people realize, like, I got offered to start an esports club at my school. There's been a lot of hiccups with that, more so like me trying to get it cleared with admin of like, what's the gray area? What am I allowed to and not allowed to have them do?
Right.
As far as like gaming outside of class, because like obviously like we don't have the tech on campus to do it, so like it leaves us in this weird spot. And like I have some people that would be interested in learning about like production and casting, but like how do I do that where I'd have to be on home on my computer? Like what's the issues that arise there? Like, and they'll be like, whatever you think's fine. I'm like, no, that's not the appropriate answer here.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
So
they tried to start at my college too, and that's the same thing.
Well, I was gonna say what's cool is like now in high school, like you can play like there's like 5 or 6 games competitively that are like in Tennessee specifically that they say, hey, you can be there is regionals and state championships in these 5 games. And I think that's really, really cool is that you could be a really good Madden player and you could play Madden as a school for your school team, go to regionals. If you win regionals, you go to a state tournament. And now we're seeing colleges like look at esports as a way to like offer scholarships to kids and things of that nature. So they really like is an interesting thing to kind of watch grow, where all other esports, and we've talked about this on a podcast way back. I don't remember what episode it was on, about esports as a whole isn't regional in the sense of like, yes, you can have US,
it's not.
EU, whatever. But the teams themselves are not all from the same place. But in high school and college, you have to be. So it leaves like this weird dynamic and this interesting dynamic of what like esports could grow into over time, that I always find really, really interesting. I think Overwatch is really like the closest thing we have to it in the sense of like they have team names based on city. That's where those or country or whatever, city states. So I think that's an interesting thing to kind of watch as esports grows.
Yeah, I agree. I really hope that this takes off in the future. Like, unfortunately not being able to broadcast a whole lot of these games, it's been tough this season because when we started off, we weren't able to do a lot starting off in our first season, but like season 2 onward to season 6, we were able to do 45 to 60 broadcasts per season. So if you narrow that down, that's 150, 160 broadcasts per year.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Ever since, there was a staff role that happened, but also like the pandemic kind of stopped and people started to be able to like have a life again and like be able to go out and enjoy life. Like once that happened, we lost like I had 4 production people for 3 straight seasons in AGL, which is why we could have 5 or 6 broadcasts per week. And then it's just been Narwallaby for.
I was gonna say, shout out to Narwallaby because like honestly, like production is a thankless role.
It is.
I mean, it is.
I would give casters, I would give production twice the amount I would give casters that I could give out during those time frames, just because I don't have another way to really like thank them enough. Like we don't have, we don't work off money. Like
no,
we're just a passion project.
I think that's what people forget too. Like casting, commissioners, mods, the admin that runs the league, like. Those aren't paid positions. Those aren't like you don't get paid like at all. It's literally they do it to offer everybody an outlet to be able to compete.
Yeah, this is a volunteer thing, and this is something you can put on your resume.
Yeah.
Like, if that's something that also helps you. Like, I did this for this person, that person, and I will literally give you my phone number to be able to talk to people. Like,
Yeah.
if you've done work for me, you've done good work, and like you've like just show up when you say you're going to show up, and you look to improve every time that you come on, and you just want to give people a great place to play, a great outlet, and just continue to like make that even better. Like, I'll try to do whatever I can, you know. That's
Mhm.
as much that's the least I can do, you know. So there's not like a it's not like we have a bank that we can just pull money out of to like pass out to people for doing
Right.
exceptional
Right.
jobs. Like, unfortunately, that would be great, but it's unfortunate that we don't really have that, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, because I did do cameraman for you guys like way back when. Because
Yeah, I think it
I
was
went
like
from
our
.g and then came over here, and I was just doing it because it's fun. I was like, this is a cool
right,
experience. And then
right.
one day I just like, hey, you need gyms, and I was like, for what?
I guess like
I was like, wait, I get gyms out of this? Okay, this is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
cool.
It's so funny because like I don't purposely do this, but I never tell people up front that you're gonna get like some sort of reward for like the amount of work that you do,
yeah.
right? Like, we're able to get so many spots on each conference to pay out admin slash staff slash broadcasting. So like I've always had like a tiering system to be able to determine, you know, what you should be given based on the amount of work you put in for your role. But it's a little bit different now because they changed the model for uh casters and production. There's a reason for that, which is actually a good reason on their side, but it's something for another time. But like, while I could, I would give people as much that as I could based on the amount of work they did, if they showed up when they did, on time, if they didn't cause any issues. Like, I did like a 5 tier system. I was telling Godson this the other night because I helped them uh write their proposal and all the information they needed for submitting to get funding from high res.
Which is a very
So
intricate process, by the way. It is not a
yeah,
not a fun time as someone that has
yes.
done it.
And I've also answered every question that OSL, or I mean OSL or Camelot or any other league has ever asked me. Like, I try to help as much as I can. Um, it also always just depends on your format and length and knowing the formula
Mhm.
and that they use. And like, I love being that person that you can come to, that I can teach you what you need to be to get what you need, right? Like, it makes me doing that actually makes the person who has to accept these offers, it makes their job way easier because they don't have to calculate everything. I've already done it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not once you learn it, it's like
No.
plug this number, plug this number, plug this number, plug this number, you're good. It's
Yeah,
like
easy
what
peasy.
like, it's really simple, really easy. Like, it's not complex. Once you take the 2 minutes to learn it, you're good. So I make that person's life, it makes them a lot easier if like I'm able to help other people as well. So
Um
I
I
just love being
guess
able to do whatever I can.
Yeah, I was gonna like I didn't know when to bring it up, but like so
Okay.
I've been with AGL. I don't know if it's been from the beginning or whatnot or anything, but I have noticed that like AGL is one of those things where they take opinions, they look at it. If they want to change, they do change. They try to make it better for the players, the captains, the actual people running it. And you don't really see that a lot in
mm-mm.
most competitive smite tournament, anything like that. And like I think that's what's great about AGL is they take all the feedback that they get and they always make it better. It seems like every time there's a new season, it always gets better and better and better.
I would say
And I
that's been
wanted to throw that
happening
out
Yeah,
there
and
because it's
from the
been
beginning.
awesome.
Because I think
yeah,
when Majin and
thank you, sorry.
Angusari brought me the idea, because this I like, they're like, hey, we got this idea. And because I was when I was on bot G, and I was like, yo, that's sick. Because we knew like Exilium had like it wasn't gonna recover at all. Obey was having its problems. They're like, yeah, we got this idea. Like we have like some familiarity. And I think like Majin sent me a couple drafts of the rules, and I was like, dude, these are good. And I gave feedback. And then I think for season 1, I think Majin did ask me. He was like, yo, bro, like, so what do you think about helping us? And I was like, hey, let me tell you a story. I would love to. And it was literally just like the worst timing for me because I had so much going on that I literally just couldn't do it. And it wasn't from the fact of not wanting to do it. I just like there was no way for me to be actually helpful besides like answering questions from time to time. If Majin or Angie, specifically had questions for me. But like if I had other people DMing me, there was no way I was going to be able to continually help out.
Yeah, so like the original rules we had, and actually the original rules for Obey and Smite Little League were written by Glacier.
Yeah.
So he basically wrote an updated version at the time, and then I was sending it to like Blaze and one other person that I don't remember who it was at this point, but just for feedback, are we missing anything in your opinion? What do you think? And like there's been, and I haven't told this story on like a podcast or anything, but I actually like had to step away during season 3 and season 4 from doing admin stuff and all that. I won't get into it, but
I think that's when I came in and helped, or during those 2 seasons.
Season 5.
Yeah.
So the end of season 4, regular season, Glacier mentioned that he's gonna take at least take a sabbatical or not step down, and nobody else was responding to pick it up and like try to continue it and or make it better. So I, after 2 days, was like, I'm gonna do this thing. Like I'm gonna like get whoever I need together, whatever I need together. I'm gonna look into every single match report, every single thing I can, rules, like things we've changed over the time. I assembled the and of course we like using management members that we had, which were a couple other people at the time, Mogner and maybe one other person.
Oh, who was the other one?
Was it Narwhal? We added Narwhal.
Narwhal was one, but there was another one, bro.
I think we added Ted that season.
Yeah, you're right.
As well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked to a bunch of captains, a bunch of different players. And again, this is when we changed the playoff format because I was listening to as many people as possible for suggestions, anything that could be changed in their opinion, their thoughts, etc. So I showed up to this meeting with these 4 other admins and was like, here are 24 different topics that could be changed in AGL.
Yeah, I remember this conversation, by the way, because we're like, Majin's like, I don't think it'll be too long of a conversation. I think we talked for like 2 hours going through everything.
I didn't think it was going to be that long, but I forgot how much Mogner likes to talk, how much you like to talk, how much Ted likes to talk. And like, I did not equate that to my like, oh, this should be like 30 minutes to an hour. And it took 2.5 hours.
That's a good thing, though.
It was,
you know,
it is a good thing. We solved a lot, but like, holy dude, like that's what people don't realize is like the admins meet and we go through stuff. Like even if we're not meeting and talking like in a call, like you're talking like in DM about, you know, different things that could be changed or be looked at or talked about. I mean, I DM Majin often my current thoughts on random things that may or may not matter. Like DKO is something we started, and we tried to get it to go. And I mean, it's still running. It's just not as successful as we'd like it to be, and not from our not because of us. I mean, that's what I have to say. But like, we discussed the rules and layouts for that on the fly. Shoot, there were questions on a cast that we didn't have rules for, and we were like, all right, what do the captains think? And we did it right then and there. Like, look, I mean, like we did. And I can say this, I know our tournaments were successful. I know people enjoyed what we did, and I know they enjoyed the amount of time that those tournaments lasted. And a lot of that was based off of like a passion idea I had where we were doing like Friday night fights, and Majin's like, what do you think about doing that for AGL? And I was like, all right, sick, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it worked. It just the problem is like right now, I'm not gonna say it's gone. I'm not gonna say that, like, because like we are still running tournaments, but like, we need high res to pick up the bag. Like we do. We need them to like pick up the bag with the game. Like it's just in a very weird spot right now. I hope it can recover because the game was fun.
Yeah,
but
it was
like
fun.
it is in a rough spot currently.
It had very, very strong foundation with players loving the game, liking the game, playing the game. Like so I have to mention this because this came up. So Droppy,
yeah,
like this player would literally
nuts.
play and mind you, this is an EU time frame player. He played in a morning tournament, in a midday tournament, and then our tournament.
Yeah, all day.
Every week, Saturday and Sunday, for literally 2 months straight.
And won most of them.
Most of them. And if he didn't win, he was top 3.
Top 3. Yes. It was cracked.
And you know what? Haven't seen him in a month.
Yep.
Haven't seen him. Dude is cracked at the game. Winning NA side tournaments from EU.
On ping. On EU ping.
In
a EU fighting game.
In a fighting game. Like
crazy.
The problem to me, and I think Blaze will agree with that, and then we'll get back to season 11 stuff or starting to it, is it's not free to play yet.
It's not. I mean, how has this game been out since December? It is April 29th on the day of recording. I could get as angry as I want about this. I could rant about this for a very long time, but there is no reason that this game should have came out mid-December, have an absolute horrible first patch lineup that went with New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, where they had to split the patch in 2. Like it was that sucked. And then like the game still isn't free to play almost 5 months later. I mean, like I don't understand. Like if the model was for it to be free to play,
and
make it free to play.
I want it to change as quick as possible so that we can possibly be able to start a league for it, to salvage tournaments on the weekends for it, like for us. I like even Yoma with Stormy Saturdays and Frosty Fridays and their lab tournaments on Wednesdays. They've seen significant drops. They used to have to turn people away because they would have too many people line up. Now they're lucky at half the maximum
are there. Yeah.
And they have money to put towards their tournaments at the very end of the month. So if they with money are struggling to even fill up a full bracket, how do you think we're doing?
Yeah. It's a problem. And I guess the other thing that I want to mention about this is at least it's not Multiversus that's been in early access. Free to play. It's free to play. Has been out for almost 9 months, and in June is going to go offline.
Yep.
Until 2024. That's a wild take by Warner Brothers, by the way. I can't believe they charge people. You can't get your money back. They charged you for the game. Well, they didn't charge you. They charged for Founders Packs, then it went free to play. And then they're going to take the game offline for an undetermined amount of time, then bring it back. I could rant about that for a while too, but I won't.
Oh yeah, we've had some good offline rants about that.
Instead, I'm going to ask Majin one of the guest questions by 12 gauge before talking about season 11 changes. Because
one mention before we do that. That meeting we had in season 5, by the way, have never had another one since.
That meeting was a good meeting. Didn't need to have another one.
We haven't needed to have anything like that. So I just had to mention it. Like everything is done in text in our management chat or a group chat or something. So like if we need stuff, but like most of the time nowadays, we don't need to do a lot. So we don't need to meet up for all that. I just wanted to mention that before it got lost and I forgot about it.
All good. So 12 gauge has a 2-part question and then another question. So I'll start with the easiest question that will be the answer, and that is, why is Ravana OP?
Let's see. It could be that he's good at every part of the game now.
Yeah.
It could be that he has immunity to immunities.
It could be.
It could be that. It could be that he has a hard CC and a soft CC to go with those immunities, so they're on 4 completely different abilities.
I think it's only because 12 gauge plays him. I think that's it. I think that's the only reason he's OP.
I think that might be also why, because we haven't seen him in AGL. I mean, not in AGL. We haven't seen him in SPL at all. I haven't seen him in SEC at all.
I would dare say I've only seen him in maybe one or two Conquest games.
Yeah,
those are picks that if you're really good at them and somebody doesn't take care of them in bans or pick it away from you, that you're gonna like punish them hard.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be OP because of that reason. So it's definitely I definitely think it's a 12 place him, and that's probably it.
All right, now time for the harder question. What are y'all's favorite gods? Or sorry, what are y'all's favorite god to play and least favorite god to play against in comp?
Favorite to play in comp, least favorite to play against.
Yeah.
In competitive.
Yeah.
My favorite to play in competitive is I think you're gonna know this answer, Blaze. It's gonna be Hell.
This is true. This is very true.
We had a season together where
that was such a good season.
Horus, and I have to tell this story every fucking time. I can't help it.
It's on an old episode. We can just reference back, go listen to one of the other ones, man, if you want. We don't have to tell it.
Yeah, I'll just mention why we were picking Horus Hell together at the time, and I'll just leave it at that. It comes up every time we do it.
It does. It does.
Hell back then, I think it's 20 now, but her Dark Stance 2 removes protections. I think it's 20 protections of physical and magical from God for 3 seconds. Horus did 25 physical and magical for 3 seconds. So if you hit them at the same time, they're not only stunned with fracture and reducing their protections. At any point in the game from level 1 to level 17, if the enemy mage, hunter, or jungler did not build any protection items, they had 0 prots once you hit them.
Yeah.
Because back then, the max magical prots until you got to level 20, when you got to 20, it would be 42. No, sorry, it would be 48. Sorry,
48.
I forgot. 48.
But you could just delete the prots.
You could just delete the prots for the first 17 levels. And now, mind you, that doesn't include flat pin items, percent pin items, flat reduction items, percent reduction items. It doesn't include any of that. That's just the passives of those 2 abilities, taking all of your prots away. So I would do that. I would pick Scylla with it, because Scylla Crush would have 25% on that. Scylla's if I'm playing in mid, it's going to be Hell, it's going to be Scylla, Thoth. Those are going to be my 3. I love playing the most competitive.
Thoth's so good right now.
Yeah, I love it. And then, of course, I think you both know I have a solo history, so I'll talk about that one in a little bit. But it's nice to see Guan and Hercules be meta, and I'm not playing solo.
I need you to calm that down.
No.
One of those was okay. You knew better.
Yeah.
Actually, Hades as well. Like, Hades was my second.
God. Get this man out of
my
here.
third diamond.
This is wild.
My 3 best gods are meta right now in solo, and I'm not playing solo. Oh my god, dude! Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So least favorite to play against. I think that if someone has an exceptional Naja, it's so crazy, because not only do you have the sash for the stun, you have the wind fire wheels, and once you think you're far enough away from somebody, then your support gets close to you. Bounce to death.
Ping.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you just walk up to the bastions and you hit them all the way behind the towers.
Exactly. So
stupid.
Naja is one of those. I love playing Naja as well, but I hate playing against Naja. And then I would say the other god that I hate playing against in competitive, I just had the name off the top of my head, and we're having this thing this week, Blaze, where we get to
name an ability.
Yeah. and it just goes away.
It does.
I literally was about to say the name, and I was like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. We can let Bats figure out his favorite, least favorite comp gods.
Yeah, go. You go ahead.
Okay, I guess my favorite would have to be okay. My favorite is Arachne, but she is bad in comp.
This question was
Like
about comp, not about your
I
favorite god
know.
to play.
Listen,
You like to play
listen.
Arachne and comp since when?
I do.
I'm upset.
You guys never let me. You guys never let me. You always say that's a
that
bad
was never
comp.
that a question never even came up during picks and bans.
All right. We had a coach that said I'm not allowed to play it. All right. So I don't bring it up.
I was the coach.
No, you weren't.
And the player.
There was a different coach.
Okay, well they're wrong. Anyways, moving on.
But all right, I do like Arachne a lot, but I just wish she had more
anything
team fight.
Yeah.
Like,
I just wish she was good. Yeah, me too.
I mean, I still think she's good. It's just
I think
team fight
she's
isn't
good
there.
if you can just run at people.
I know, and that's what I like doing. That's why I like Bakasora too.
Oh my god. All right.
Yeah, between those two, I love those gods a lot.
Bats is lying, y'all. This man loves Fenrir, and don't let him tell you otherwise.
Okay, listen.
So
I liked Fenrir until I always got counterpicked.
Until you got to play against a wheel.
Every time.
Majin, you ever seen a team look like they're gonna draft a wheelish and then someone convince your jungler to pick Fenrir? Because I have. And it was awesome.
4 games in a row.
God.
4 games in a row. They're like, no, you're first picking Fenrir. I don't want to do this, guys. Nope, that's what you got to do.
Yep. Luckily, that wasn't on this season's team because I first picked every game. Anyways, moving on.
So, I hate playing against Pele.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Pele
really?
is good.
I like Pele.
Pele
drives me nuts. I also love if I play jungle, I love playing Kali. I love that god so much. But yeah, that's
y'all name these feast and famine junglers. Get out of here, bro. All right, Bats. What's your least favorite god to play against? I
honestly don't know why I like those gods. My least favorite right now would have to be like Ao Kwang, just because.
God, dude.
He's
fallen off.
Yeah,
by the way,
he's fallen off. But don't you just love how you can still have a full tank Ao Kwang and still it still goes like 20-2 because look,
dude.
Yeah, this one's half health. I can drop my kid on him. That's easy.
Yeah. I despise Ao Kwang
just
players.
Don't be near him. Easy claps.
Oh yeah, that's definitely easy to do.
Yeah.
You just hear that invis and you're like, oh crap, where'd he go? Other than that, I think my other to like play against would have to be a Hercules. I'm tired of that god. In lane, especially in support. God. I'm tired of Hercules supports.
So here's the deal. In comp, if I'm playing solo, we'll just throw it back to Amaterasu because that's a funny haha. But if I'm in ADC,
Hachiman.
Oh god, dude, it has to be like Cupid Danza. Really, honestly, if you give me Cupid, you're probably in for a bad time. Gods to play against. Thanatos, shout outs to Riggs and Danny for running X-Ball Thana with the Morgan as well, and just double Ultimius Thana on cooldown. That's really cool. Kepri really sucks to play against because of revives. And I had another one that I wanted to mention. Oh, Hercules. That god sucks. Moving on. Why they buffed him, no one will ever know. That god's dumb. If I see a Hercules and pick some bans, I'm picking Jingwei. That's just the way it is. Anywho.
It'd be that way. Yeah.
I'll let you talk about Season 11 changes. I have to step out for just a second, though, but I'll let you talk about them.
Okay. So first of all, we've already kind of talked about it a little bit. But adjusting. Not adjusting, but we are adding a new division, or we're changing Narwhalby from a conference to a division. So we can have those 8 low gold to high gold teams be competing by themselves there. They'll have their own playoffs for themselves. 6 teams out of the 8 will go, and then they just play from there. So because we're able to add that division and rename the old conference to the Aluk conference after Aluk, who did some great stuff for us back when we were a part of the actual Albion Giants org before it ended up going away. he was an awesome dude. But now it's going to be the low and below conference. So we're gonna, because of that, it allows us to actually adjust MMRs across each conference and division. So if you know, like the cutoffs for us are usually a little bit higher number in the MMR section for each one before we review players. But we've also taken into consideration their league history, how they performed, etc., and also in other leagues as well. I'm everywhere because people invite me everywhere. So I'm basically in every single Smite Discord you can think of, and I have access to.
Yeah, and he's whispering sweet nothings in your ear. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So we're able to make these changes. So Narwallaby, which is now a Luke going into season 11, the MR cap is going to change from 1800 down to 1700. And what we're going to do from there is it's going to be, instead of a 300 to 400 MMR gap, it's going to be a 250 MMR gap change with each division or conference. So
nice.
1700 for that. Narwallaby is going to be 1950 before we review. Ted Listens is going to be at 2200. That comes down from 2300. We're going to do 2550 for Sherrix. It's only 50 down from what it's accustomed to. And then the big one is Glacier Conference is going to move down from 2800 to 3K to 2650. That also is going to allow us to move. I mentioned 3 teams earlier from Masters that really need to be pushed up. That's going to allow us to move them up to either a bridge division, another bridge division like Narwallaby is going to be, but for between Glacier and Masters, or to put them in Masters. So it's going to allow us to bring more competitive parity at the top end and the bottom end of the league. Ted and Sherrix basically don't get changed that much, but they're also like really the most competitive, usually consistently each season.
Yeah, it helps bridge that gap. It also gives like people at the low end a way to learn if you're brand new to comp.
Yeah. I was gonna say this idea sounds actually really awesome.
Yeah, so like the problem before, like, and of course this is all if we can get like 140 plus signups again, because it depends on Wallaby, how many sign up for Luke, how many sign up for Glacier, how many sign up for Masters.
Right.
Like we had 30 signups for Glacier Conference last season. Like, so if we can move those 3 or 4 teams up, and we definitely have the teams that could replace them and bring more parity there, right? With Sherrix, the same thing. You move up 1 team, 2 teams that are overperforming that need to move up. They're ready for the next step. Then you've got 2 teams out of the 25 teams that signed up. We had 13 of them make it, I think it was, because I think we had 3 returning. So now those next two teams out of those 25 will come in, So if we could do this again, then it's going to allow us to set a better foundation moving forward if we consistently keep getting what we're getting. That way we can further make adjustments down the road. Even like if we could add that bridge division between Glacier and Masters, it's going to even out everything like pretty smoothly. Otherwise,
because those are your biggest gaps.
Masters is going to be because like people are always like, why are the MMR caps like higher based on what Smite says for ranked? It's because like we watch players' performances. Like people don't really think that we do sometimes, but then we like. Here's an example. We had the Golden Below Conference commissioner vet for that conference this season, right? This current season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I let that all to him. I did all of the Ted Listens ones, and then Sherrix was done by Ferendum. Glacier was done by 12 Gauge. So unfortunately, the commissioner for Golden Below didn't know about 10 to 12 players that, on paper, they are fine because of their ranked history, but don't know them from the league history or other leagues they play in.
Yeah, which is a big problem, by the way.
Yes.
Not like just when you have a comp league. Like that is something that
Right.
makes this hard.
Right. So if you're not paying attention, then you won't catch those. Well, unfortunately, it's not that he didn't pay attention; he didn't know them, and I just wanted him to be able to like do his thing, learn, grow, get better. Because he has a good idea of the players mostly at level. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's looking for. But if he doesn't know the players in this particular sits, then it happens. Now, had I looked or had somebody else looked and saw, oh, these players don't need to be here, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We've fixed it. But I wanted him to like have his success or failure so he could just learn either way, right? Mostly a success. Like, don't get me wrong. We're talking about 10 players out of a 16-team division or conference, right? So it's just 10 players, but we moved up one team that had a player that previously plays in Sherricks and another that previously was on higher level TED teams. So we moved that team up. They threw a fit. They disband. Guess what? I don't fucking care. Like, you were trying to get by the system.
Yeah.
You were trying to get by the system because you were getting by somebody who's learning.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're learning that spot. They want that to be their bread and butter. They didn't know you. You got by in relegations and you had 2 of the players as subs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
which is a tactic teams do when they don't want to get caught, is they put them as subs in hopes they don't get caught.
Yeah, it's always like, they're subs, they haven't played in a long time.
Oh yeah.
And like they're rusty, and we think that we just want them to have a filler,
or it's
filler
their
spot.
alt, or it's an alt account, and then you realize it's a high level player,
and then also, suddenly they're mid they're through their computer in the trash can, so they had to like move them from sub to mid.
Yeah,
so,
and now they're
stupid thing that they
and then their mid's going like 22-1 in the games. They're like, oh, he's not that good.
That's because we set him up. We did all the work. He just got the last hit. It was a basic.
Yeah, exactly. But that it allows us to fix those type of problems with adding in the high gold to low gold,
right?
Because the players that do fit, that don't have that much history, now we have history. Now we know these amount of players, these teams should be here. Excuse me. Now next season we can make this better and try to actually have a true low gold and below, because before it was just gold, so that included high gold. But the gap is just too big between high gold and high silver.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like the gold plat gap and then the diamond masters gap are pretty significant.
Yes, they
are. Plat to diamond, not so bad, but it's the gold to plat, diamond to masters where it's really just like devastating. The gap that's there.
Yeah, and there's also a problem of there's like I've said this before, I think on here too, but Big Chain 55 in season 4 got at the end of that season got carried by Z Calamity and ranked, got him into Masters, did the same thing in season 5, which was the new season, was another new fight season, what, season 8, I think? Season 8.
It's either late 7, early 8.
Yeah, so was still in Masters. People are like, why are we playing a Masters support? Why are we playing a Masters support? Why are we playing a Masters support? And then they see him go 1-7 when they play him.
Yeah.
Like, this is why they're here. They're not actually a Masters player. We know their performance. We know they were they had some decent KDAs on the team that they won in the Barbarians division then, which is the lowest division. They moved up because they wanted to move up. They thought they were just better than everybody else, which they were, except for one other team. And then it's like, okay, you want that challenge? Let's move you up. And then those players are like, oh, no. Why is this player here? Why is this player here? And then that team goes 3-4 and barely makes the playoffs. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, we get it. It's a lot. If you know the player's league history, then you'll know that if you see somebody at 2400, likely they've played here before or lower before, and we know where they sit as a competitive level, not a ranked level. So one other one is for the Norwalaby conference 2 seasons ago and before the previous 2 seasons. a team named Spicy Meatballs has a mid jungler. The MMRs are at 3,000 on console.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were the 2 worst players on their team.
Yeah.
Competitively.
Yeah. Well, now you don't have to worry about that because console and PC are together. But yeah, that's another issue, right? That people talk about is like before when we're having an event, looking through and seeing that, oh, they're a console player. Well, that deviates that. Well, not necessarily. Some of those console players are cracks.
Some.
That's true.
And then some got there and they're not. Like it's just one way or the other. It's not like
you have to know and pay attention to these players. And if
it's hard.
Like I had so many DMs for 2 seasons in a row. Why are we letting 3K Masters players into our games? And they play them, they're like, oh, they're not that good. Like, when you see
what killed me is when we were in Diamond Plus. It was like me, Swab, Liani, Gactyl, Kenny. And the people were like, why are there GMs on the other team? Like, because you can have 1 or 2 GMs on your team, bro. Like, what do you mean? And then like every once in a while there'd be a team with like 3 GMs. They're like, well, they have 3 GM players. Okay, like bro, that doesn't matter at this point. You're at the top end of comp. Like, the difference between us and Masters isn't like, yes, it's devastating if like we played in the Masters division where they're like basically SEC players, but like we're not there. Okay, like this other GM player that you never heard of, is not going to be so devastating to us. Like I remember going against a GM ADC in that league, and that's when Boots existed. I didn't build Boots, and I was bodying this guy, and I was like, dude, this jungler outruns me all the time.
Yeah.
And like we all know, I was a big advocate of not building Boots. I hated the item in general. I don't care how stat efficient it was. I just hated having to buy them to sell them later on in the game. And I remember looking at my build like 15 minutes in, I'm like, bro, I didn't buy Boots. Like that's why this jungler is like living rent free in my lane. But I'm also in my head like, I'm bodying this guy without the most stat efficient item in the game. And I can't tell you how many times I did that through playing solo and ADC. Too often.
I back in season 6, this is when the Exilium thing was going on.
Yeah.
That first Exilium season, I was a sub for the League Owners team, and I never got used until the playoffs because their solo was out of town. I played in a pickup scrim so I can get some practice in, and I was playing against Dicaris, who at the time was one of the higher like level solo laners. I think he still is to this day. I don't think he plays as much anymore. But he picked Bellona, I picked Erlong Shen. This is when you could have both Berserkers and Glad Shield at 1,700 each.
Yeah.
And Berserkers was Death's Toll because Death's Toll wasn't in the game. But it also had attack speed and fence prots. And the Glad Shield, we know how broken that item was if you've been around for it. If not, every ability you landed on a god or multiple gave you 2.5% max, 2.5% regen of your mana and health for each god that you hit. So not only was I healing with Erlong Shen through Berserkers, I was healing through with the Warrior Warrior's Blessing too. You were getting 40 for when you hit them.
It was wild.
And also Glad Shield because of Turtle Knockup and because of the pin. And his one at the time.
Good Erlong, dude.
I know.
Time the one procced it too. Yeah. So I was out trading out healing, of course, Turtle Knockup into the bludgeon, so he gets no value out of the bludgeon for the wave. And people, like you if you're playing smart, if you're playing correct, you can take somebody down that's well more like prepared than you are, well more experienced than you are. But does it mean that you're that level player?
No, it doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't. I think, and that's where people get confused.
I would never at that point in time call myself a Masters player because I soloed this guy 3 times in a row. Like,
there's never a point I think I'm Masters.
I'm not doing that. No, I haven't been past Diamond 5. Like, and that's when I was taking rank seriously. I don't play rank at all anymore.
I've never been in plat because every time I get close, high res decides it's not my time. One day I'll play ranked. Maybe this season I will. Maybe this season I'll take ranked seriously at some point.
I keep trying to get you to play ranked.
Look, no one wants to be in my games. Okay, my conquest games go 50 minutes, and that's just the way it is. Like it's big sad boy hours like that
anyways. So
if you'd stop stealing fire giants, it would end quicker for you. You would lose though.
No, I'm okay. So I thought about it. No, I'm good. Like my first time playing E-Shell in Conquest, I stole fire. It's just it's in me, dude. Like if you put that's like the crazy thing when me, you, and 12 gauge and the other two guys were like doing some scrims from time to time. You can't put me and 12 gauge on the same team because you are not
solid.
You will lose everything. Oh, you think you can put everything's ours. Like this, and like I think when we were doing scrims that one time, I think me and 12 gauge stole like 4 or 5 objectives during one scrim.
Yes, one scrim, one single scrim.
It's like, who do you try to keep away? You can't keep us both away. One of us is getting through. One of us is getting through.
That's ridiculous, man. Really
I will mention in the description, I'll make sure to have a link to Albion Giants Discord, but also have a link to the league signups because season 11 signups are going to close on May 19th. So this episode will release on the 1st. You have 18 days still to put the team together, sign up, relegate. Relegations are a fun time sometimes. Relegations are 2 dates, and like they used to be worse. Okay, like relegations used to be real rough boy hours. Now they're not so bad because like they're at a set time. Relegations are May 20th at 5 p.m. EST and May 27th at 5 p.m. EST. Is the 27th? Is that Memorial Day weekend?
I'm not sure if it is or not. I do know that Aprilis is graduation day is that day. So
our graduation date is the 26th, as far as like the high school I work at. But I was just thinking about it. Like well, college wise, mine's I think next week for the college I teach for. But yeah, I think that might be the case because my birthday's at the end of April or not April, into May. God, dude, I'm reading. I can't read. Majin's brainwaves are coming off to me. Do we want to talk about the playoff changes that are coming?
Yes. So currently, how playoffs work is two divisions come together. They make it 12-team playoff. You put in the first round, teams are guaranteed to play somebody from the other division. So 5 will play 12, 6 plays 11, etc. Because the top 4 teams get a bye. From that point on, you could play any of those teams at that point going forward. So the new change, this is one of those things that Bats mentioned. We listen to the community, we listen to people. This is one of the changes driven by the community. If you're familiar with the NBA, the Eastern Conference plays only the Eastern Conference until the finals. Western Conference plays Western Conference until the final.
Yeah.
There's a way in challenge. You have to do it manually, and you have to do 2 different challenge brackets for it, and I don't care. That's fine, whatever. So one challenge will be the regular season. The next one will be the actual bracket. So the bracket, I've already got the default ready that I can just copy and paste into each one going forward. For the conferences, only the conferences. Remember, like if it's just a single division of 8 teams, they're only playing each other anyway. So this is not a change for that. But for the conferences, you're only playing your division until finals.
Okay.
So your conference, your division winners will play in the quote-unquote Super Bowl of the AGL for their conference. And then your second place for each division will play each other for the third place match, for the bronze match. So that is the change. 28 captains voted for it. It was 25-3 in favor of making this change.
You know who didn't vote on that?
Who's that?
This guy.
That guy.
Mostly because I didn't care. I was like, either way, whatever. Yeah. Like, I'm like, to me, like, I don't think, I don't know, dude. Like, for me, like, I understand to set it up more like the NFL, NBA, but at the same time, I think like a lot of esports do it the way it's currently set up. So I'm like, whatever. Like, it gives me a chance to play the other side a little bit more, but overall, I don't care. I definitely didn't vote on that though. I didn't vote yes or no. I think it's a good change. I think it like you're going to play against the people you know, and that makes for some interesting. As far as storylines, it makes for good storylines, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But along with that, so like that's the change. Is like we have the change to basically East versus East, West versus West. Obviously, it's by the name of divisions, not by that. And then Super Bowl time, that's pretty dope. I guess, one thing I won't. Are we gonna bring back the idea of doing like an all-star game?
So I've been asked that a few times. Here is what happened. So in season 8 of the AGL, so last summer.
By the way, I know the answer. I just wanted to ask Majin so he can explain it, and I have to say it again. We can keep it short and sweet.
We did this for each 4 conferences. I had captains vote in a form for who they would vote for top 2 in each role. They could only vote for 2 people from their team, including theirself, right? So in the lowest conference, 12 of the 16 captains voted. The ones that went to playoffs are the ones that voted. The other 4 just like, nah, whatever. For the next 2 conferences, only 6 people voted, and in the Glacier Conference, 8 people voted. So then the day the All-Star games were supposed to happen, you've got people saying, "No, I can't make it," this and that.
Yep.
It got to the point to where even with using subs and next ups that aren't even
listed, couldn't make it happen.
Couldn't make it happen.
Look, I just made it where you never have to answer that question again. You can go listen to episode. Hold on. 100 and wait, let me figure it out. I'm closing things out. Episodes 106 of the Up Your Experience podcast. And there you go. You don't ever have to explain it again. You can tell them to come listen to the whole entire episode.
And then
they'll eventually find it. I saved you the trouble right now.
So I much appreciated for that, by the way. But so I don't mind doing like an all-star vote, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe starting next season again. But I don't know.
I think maybe just doing like an MVP recognition or something. I think that'd be kind of cool.
And
like it doesn't have to be a game.
Probably, I think that the MVP of the league would be more acceptable.
That'd be kind of cool.
Or just MVP of each role, maybe. Like we could probably do that for each conference, but either way. So that's why we haven't tried to do it against sets.
Yeah.
It's one of the few times that we've listened to the community and the community said, "F you. We're not doing it." So and it's because I didn't want to do it, but so many unfortunate things happened that it's just like, man, I don't know what I want to do that because it was in the summer, man. It was like when people are free. Like, what happens when they're not free?
What's that?
Like, like
really, maybe the solution is just make it a best of 1. But who knows? Honestly, I don't know. I just think I remember like us being excited to cast it and then no one showing up, and it's just like, okay, cool. What should have been a cool time like ended up just like being a waste of time, which sucks.
I was so sad when I had to make that announcement that we were not going to be able to do an all-star game at all, not a single one of the 4.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurt, but it's all right, man. Like we're almost a year past at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
it's healing.
It's healing.
So to go along with that, we have Summer Scholastic League. This is going to be college plus high school, right?
Yes. So we had so Ferendum has been running collegiate since last spring, when he graduated from A&M, Texas A&M. For those that want to figure out which A&M it is, and he thinks a lot like myself, and I've played on multiple teams with before. I know his passion. I know like once he gets hooked to something, he's gonna find the best possible ways to do things. We talk things out. So with him graduating, he's actually going to go back for his master's. So now he has to step down. And his idea was, what if I did the high school stuff? And I was like, does that even exist? And turns out there's at least 29 teams that play in high school.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do for the summer. Yeah. So what we're going to do for the summer is see how many of those teams will join. Because we're going to do we're going to combine Division 1 and Division 2. They're going to have their own tournament series. Yeah. And then for Division 3, Division 4, we're going to put our own division series there. And we're going to put those high school teams there because it's the lowest side. They have the most room for growth there. They have opportunity each week to earn gems, and just go forward from that point, right? So it's just if that goes well, we're going to host our own high school league so that teams can sign up for that, and that would start in the fall this year.
That'd be awesome.
If we get at least a few teams, like 5 or 6 teams that play, and then they like it, and then they talk about it, and then they spread it, like we could get them a high school league rolling for themselves like we do for collegiate already. But I want to see if they're interested enough to come in and compete consistently,
right?
So we can give them that opportunity. So it's just one more thing to do. And last thing on the list, potential surprise starting in season 11. So if you listen to this is information nobody, not even admins, know about this. So in the high-res community tournament Discord server, there's only one person per league in there. Well, 2 for some of us, because like some people may do tournament processing, some do league. I do the league.
Right.
Our Perlis does tournaments. We just got her in a month or so ago, so she knows. Hi-Res has slots open during the week that they want to try to put leagues on the Smite game channel.
Oh.
I've applied for Monday between 7 and 10 because that's a time Narwhalaby can do. That's also a time your boy Blaze said he could potentially be available for.
I am going to try my best.
Yeah,
that is 6 o'clock my time to 9, so we'll have to see. I might have some issues, but I'll do the best I can.
So this is something that may or may not happen. This could happen. This may not happen. If it does, it would be
Fingers crossed.
Maybe once a month, twice a month, maybe at most. I would think it's not going to be a lot.
That's huge. That's pretty big.
It still gives an opportunity for those players to get recognized on Smite Game Channel, which is super sick. Like obviously for the casters, Narwhal, like it's cool for us too, but like it's really cool for the players to get that recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited for that possibility. That's information that nobody knows outside of that Discord. So once this goes live, it's still not known outside of anybody that listens here. But they're gonna let us know pretty soon. They said by week 3 of the SBL. This is week 2, so next week we should know something. Nice.
I guess we'll round out the episode with this. I had another guest question from Ash Basham, so I will make sure to ask it. It's not super crazy. Do you watch anime?
I don't get the time to, so no.
Okay. Well, since you said no, there's a caveat to this. He suggests that you go watch Vinland Saga on Netflix and Crunchyroll, or Uncle from Another World. There you go. That's the caveat to that. Shots to Basham. On the way out of here, but go ahead.
Since they're saying I must do it, then they must create their own league to get 2,800 Discord members and get to experience what it's like to do this for free.
Oh, sorry, I misread it. He said, if yes, go watch Vinland Saga. That's on me. He said, if yes. I thought he said, if not. I thought he said, if not. My bad. That's me.
Okay,
that's me.
So what was there an if no to that?
Because... No, I thought the if no was like, go check this out. That's what I thought it was, and I'd misread because I'm big dumb.
That's the only reason I don't, though. I don't get to do a whole lot. But like this, my free time is AGL. Like it's my passion. It's what I want to do well. So it's what I do.
I just realized I had my follower and sub count on for this whole entire video. That is wild. Anyways,
good job. Proud of you.
Yeah, good job to me. You know, I really holding the fort down here. Professional at this. But as we head on out of here, Maj, you got any shout outs?
Just shout out to all the people that continuously sign up and come to play in the league. That it makes it to where, you know, I'm not going anywhere already, but like it makes me refreshed every time we see like the amount of people that enjoy the AGL, enjoy what we're doing. Just shout out to Smite itself for, you know, giving us something to be passionate about, and thanks to Hi-Res for funding the gem prizes every single season we've ever been able to do this. Without them, there would be no prizing. So thanks a lot to them. I would also like to shout out you, Blaze, because you've been around this scene longer than people realize. It's going on year 5 or 6 for you now that you've been doing something for the community. So you need to use the recognition for that. So also, were you 3rd or 4th and So You Think You Can Cast?
3rd.
Yeah, exactly.
3rd in chair 2. 3rd in chair 2, baby. Way better at chair 1.
He's got 3rd in the chair that he's not well versed, the most versed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy's a talent. So you gotta keep supporting this dude. He's awesome. But just thanks to everybody for all the support and everything. We can't do it without people being passionate about Smite and wanting to play and get better.
All right. Bats, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, first off, shout out to Majin for being on the podcast because
Yes, sir.
explaining all this. This, for those of you that have been podcast listeners, this is the league that we talk about constantly because we play in this league because it is a great league. And I will say shout out to Majin right now because he may not say it, he may say it jokingly, but he puts in a lot of time into AGL in general, and so do all the other admins. And it's all, from what I understand, volunteer.
Yep.
Like it is not a job. This is a passion, and they have made it great, and it's fantastic. So big shout out to AGL as well. Also shout out to all the listeners for keeping this going because we're at episode 106. We're gonna hashtag
on the grind,
this.
baby.
Only 94 away from 200.
Only 94.
I know, right? We're gonna be going. We're gonna be
going. Honestly, shout outs to Ash Bash from the Simply for Senpai podcast. Shout them out every time. I love those guys. Shout outs to AGL. Everything we're doing over there has just been awesome. Shout outs to Bot G. Battlegrounds got a Smite podcast. All your Smite content can be found there. We've been doing a lot of stuff over there. We're working on, I think I'm going to start bringing community night. It's going to be in between Up Your Experience and Bot G together. So that'll be maybe happening once a month. Keep an eye out for that. And then last but not least, shout outs to Guardians Mental Health. Starting May 1st, the day this episode comes out, is Mental Health Awareness Month. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on the stream, a lot of stuff on the podcast to talk about that and support that. So keep an eye out. But we appreciate y'all. And we got to head out of here. Bye.
See you, everybody.
See ya.